watches a 30-second advert. However, the average consumer watches 160 hours of adverts yearly when watching TV. However, with the emergence of streaming services, this has been one of the many changes to consumers' everyday life, thus leading us to wonder, how has the consumption of media changed with the introduction of streaming services? Since 2013, Netflix, Stan and Presto have entered the Australian consumer market, having drastic effects to the industry on established services such as Foxtel, free-to-air television and QuickFlix, who recently entered voluntary administration, blamed largely on streaming company Stan. In our study, we interviewed 6 people of varying age groups to gain a deeper insight into consumers' consumption habits of media and the changes that have in turn occurred. Our group discovered that the younger generation have been raised alongside technology. As a result, streaming services have become a fundamental part of their everyday life. The primary response was, "I don't know how I would go without it." An alternative point of view, from the baby boomer generation, suggests the notion that technology, especially streaming services, is not a key factor in their life. In our study, 5 out of 6 participants were currently subscribed to a streaming service and had originally subscribed through a free trial, usually about a month long. The free trials these services offer have removed post-purchase dissonance from the consumer's decision-making process. They've also offer no locking contracts to keep the post-purchase dissonance out of the process. Consumers' needs and wants have changed with the introduction of streaming services. The research exhibits the added convenience that services such as Netflix, Stan and Presto provide to the 87% of participants that use this service in their day-to-day consumption of film and TV, by allowing consumers to access this content 24/7 wherever they are, which is evident through the switch from a large customer base in Foxtel to the cheaper alternatives which are overtaking the market. Since their Australian launch in 2015, 2013 and 2014, Netflix, Stan and Presto, respectively, have a combined total of around 2.4 million users and continuously rising, whereas Foxtel, founded in 1995, has roughly 2.9 million, a number that is decreasing. These statistics were further supported by our interviews, as all participants were Foxtel subscribers. However, 66% of participants have abandoned their Foxtel subscription, admitting Foxtel isn't worth the money, as they can access the content they want legally online through streaming services. For the 33% of consumers that have kept their subscription, the primary reasons behind this was due to Foxtel's coverage of sport, predominantly AFL, and prior to this year, the Premier League. This changed with Optus's acquisition of the Premier League earlier this year. There are already successful sports streaming services internationally such as NBA League Pass, NFL Game Pass, and beIN Sports. It shows an opportunity in the market in this area. Furthermore, the 33% of customers still subscribe to Foxtel highlighted that streaming services were yet to feature all the content that they wanted access to, and are not advertised heavily enough for them to recognise these services, as they had only heard of them through word of mouth. All participants interviewed were also asked about their illegal downloading habits, and 50% of participants, the younger generation, said that they illegally accessed their content quite regularly before they had signed up to streaming services. However, these habits had since sharply declined, and this is reflected of the IP Awareness Foundation survey of the 18 to 24-year-old age group, who saw a 4% drop recorded in October 2015, which was shortly after the release of Netflix. After the analysis of our background research and interview findings, it is clear that the younger generation have become the early adopters of streaming services, ditching traditional media outlets such as free-to-air television and Foxtel. Conversely, the older generation, when exposed to these services, are slowly adopting them into their life, but still favour established services, leaving them in the late majority. As these services grow with more content and greater advertising, they should continue to increase their market share, forcing established services such as Foxtel to adapt or face a similar fate to QuickFlix.